Hello everybody, I am the Helpful Witch, and today I want to share with you 20 missable details in the latest trailers that we have seen in November 11th from Avalanche and the Warner Bros. Studios. Before we jump into the video, please like and comment down below what you want to see me cover next, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, it would really mean the world to me. Now let's jump straight in. At the beginning of the presentation, they start going through a bit about the UX design and what we see on the HUD, and we actually see that they say that this bar they want to keep a secret, but we see at the end of the trailer that bar filling up as we do combat, and it's been speculated that the bar is the ancient magic, so that's not really gonna be kept a secret for long, as we have already probably figured out what that actually is. So yeah, the first bar there that it's empty is the ancient magic bar. The next thing that I want to point out is actually on the bedside table. We see the light blue chocolate frogs packaging. This is actually very interesting because we have speculated that due to the lore that we're not actually going to be able to collect the normal card chocolate frogs, but as we see this with actually a different color than what we used to, I wonder if they're going to have a basically quote-unquote prototype or predecessor of the normal chocolate frogs. So actually we're going to still be able to collect the chocolate frog cards, but we're not actually going to be able to use the ones that we're used to seeing. We're going to have a slightly different packaging. Next, we've seen this in the main gameplay reveal trailer, but we actually see the Fat Friar in the corner again down the stairs in the Hufflepuff common room. So that's another very quick missable details that we see, but I wonder if we'll be able to see and interact with the ghost. We don't seem to be able to interact with any of the students in the dormitory, so it would be definitely nice to be able to actually interact with the ghost of each common room. Next up, right after we see our character using Revelio and getting one of the pages for the field guide, we actually see before they change the camera angle, we actually see another page show up, which is probably the page that is going to tell us how to get into the kitchen. I wonder whether we are not able to actually get into the kitchen until we use Revelio and get that page. So we're going to have to learn how to use Revelio first before we can get into the kitchen. Next, an interesting thing that we see here is actually on the wall, and we get a prompt saying roll on this weird wall mounting design with some question marks. This we've actually seen a couple of times throughout the trailer, and I'm trying to pull it up on the screen right now, but we are not entirely sure what it is. So going back to the first one we see that it says roll, and next to it there is this weird vase which actually has some of the Badger and Hufflepuff motifs on it. It's interesting because, again, I wonder whether we're going to be able to roll and then get some items. In some of the other scenes we actually get a chest icon very close to where that is on the wall, so I'm wondering whether it's something that may be replenished daily and we can just roll and get some items or some potions or some ingredients every day, and we just don't know what we get. Is just kind of displayed, maybe just spins, and every day we get a different item from it. Now when we open the field guide, interestingly in the quest icon we actually have a dragon egg. This is very interesting as it might symbolize that we might have to either steal or give back an egg to a dragon. I'd be very interested, as we saw Harry Potter stealing the dragon egg in Goblets of Fire, so I wonder if we're gonna have a quest that actually has a little bit of a nod to that, or if, as I said before, instead of stealing the eggs we will have to give it back and ensure that it hatches with their rightful mother. Next, still in the same screen, we actually see a combat card that looks like Merlin, and maybe as there is two unlit fireplaces at the bottom, fireplaces or torches, we could actually have one being the green torch symbolizing the dark magic, and instead another one being blue symbolizing the ancient magic. And I wonder if these flames will lit up as we actually unlock some spells, as currently that card is grayed out, as this is just from the developer game kit, so we're not actually into the game. This is a kind of fresh new save, so they don't have any special spells unlocked. So I wonder whether this is gonna change the icon a little bit as we unlock new spells. Next, as we go through the castle, we actually get Boston, one of the people presented on the panel, talking about the different windows and how these changes through the seasons. And we actually can see a motif that, to me, it reminds me actually of a tree, and I wonder if that motif is actually going to change as the game progresses. During that passage, we actually get that the game developer mentioned that the castle changes throughout the season and the castle is alive. So I do wonder if that's one of the changes that the castle makes to go with the season. We actually see another example of a tree on motifs of the window later on in the game trailer, and I actually wonder if that also is going to change with the seasons. Now we're actually in a familiar area that we have seen through the ASMR videos, and we see a rain cloud on the side that they kind of skip over. So I do wonder if this rain cloud is actually going to be part of a side quest, or if we're going to be able to interact with it in any way. It didn't have a pop-up triangle in the screen, so it doesn't look like it's interactable. I wonder whether we need to be given a quest first before we can actually interact with it. This could be a nod to the book when Ron has to go into the Minister of Magic disguised and actually try to stop the rain from happening into one of the offices there. So I wonder if we're going to be using the same spell, Finite Incantatum, or actually if we're going to be doing something different with this rain cloud. But again, this is something that we haven't seen in any of the other trailers or any other spots, and I think it goes very quickly so people can miss it, and I'm actually wondering what we're gonna do with it. Now very shortly after, we see our character turn around and we get the shots that we have actually seen in the ASMR videos. However, something new is these full-on symbols in the bottom of the bridge, and we can actually see that it's, at least to me, it reminded of the PlayStation controller symbols. So we have something that looks like a circle, a square, and a triangle, but then instead of having an X, we have another triangle. So actually looking a bit more in depth into this, we can actually see that the same symbols appear on the lantern, and we see the one lit on the right that actually has the circle symbol. Now what we can see from the circle at the bottom, we can see that that has a number 2 into the inscription. So that tells me that we have to solve this puzzle, actually interact with these lanterns in a specific order. As we can see in this shot, the order that we need to interact with the lanterns is the inverse triangle first, then the circle, which is the lit one already, and then we can go to the other triangle and lastly finish with the square. So we can see that there is the numbers right next to the different symbols, so those probably signify the order that we need to use to interact and solve this puzzle. Another detail that is easily missable, as it happens very quickly, is that in the mural that we see right as we come down the stairs, there is this dragon that is actually breathing smoke, and that's actually one of my favorite bits in the trailer. It really looks interactive and nice and alive. I really liked it. It's a very nice nod to, you know, the paintings moving, but also the castle being alive. Just underneath the dragon, we actually see quite a lot of Latin inscriptions. In the center we can see the school motto, while on the sides we have some more Latin inscriptions that I went and translated for all of you. So going from left till right, we can actually see the first one is Doctrina Perpetua, which actually means forever learning. Then we have Docendo Decimus, which actually means by teaching we learn. After the school motto, we actually see Scientia Potentia Est, which means knowledge is power. To finish off with Per Angusta ad Augusta, which means through difficulties to honors. So these are very fitting with the theme of the game and also the fact that we're in a school, and it's actually very nice to get some more Latin inscriptions. I really enjoy looking. I didn't study Latin at school. I know in Italy we do study Latin, but I chose not to, so I had to go and Google what they meant and probably pronounce them wrong a little bit, so apologies for that. Then our character reaches a very ornate doors with a lot of different creatures around it. I actually think this could be the classroom for magical creatures, for Care of Magical Creatures, the class. So I'd imagine that we will still go outside and see some of the creatures, but maybe we'll have some classes inside and that's where we will take them. I really like it. I think this is so nice. I really like the gold, how polished the look and the light reflecting off of it. I really like it. Now, while our character is getting a side quest, I actually found very funny what is happening in the background. So we can see that there is an NPC actually playing around with a potion, drinking it, and then smoke comes out of its ears. This potion could actually be the pepper up potion, which one of the side effects is actually steam coming out of your ears, so I'd assume it is that. But it's actually really nice to see this little event happening while we're getting the side quest and this poor student getting some steam come out of its ears. As we keep going through to the Hogwarts castle, we actually see another howler, and we see a group of students there very threatened from this howler screaming at them. Going a bit further, we see a window that actually, to me, is very interesting that they really stopped on this window and they actually showed it again at the end of the trailer. I'm very interested because we see a wizard and a witch, which maybe look like they're kind of fighting. So at the center we see what I'd assume is a representation of Avada Kedavra spell, because we see again this green area surrounding a skull, so that to me really fits with the Avada Kedavra curse. So I think this is depicting Morgana and Merlin fighting, and in the center we actually see again this motifs that is the symbol of Hogwarts Legacy, represented by this ribbon going around, this purple ribbon. I think that is for the ancient magic, and that could actually signify the fight that they had to gain power and to gain the control of the ancient magic. Now we are in the defense against the dark arts classroom, and I really like this classroom. It's really filled with a lot of knickknacks, kind of like we've seen in the different years throughout the Harry Potter books, and each of the teacher actually shaping this room to be their own. Something that I really like is the nod to actually the name of this teacher. So Hecate is actually a goddess that represents being the mother of witches, and it's usually represented or depicted with these moon phases that we see on the ground of her classroom. So I actually really like what they did to tie in, you know, her name to actually some real mythology of this goddess, and the symbols that are actually depicted in the floor are actually what they're usually used to represent this goddess. So I really like what they did with this classroom. Now something very interesting is that we see this statue once again. We've seen this statue now a total of 3 times, and we have seen a lot of paintings being reused a couple of times. We have seen other assets of course being reused, but this statue is interesting to me because we've seen it actually twice already in very important places. We've seen it in the Slytherin common room, and we first thought it was going to be Salazar Slytherin as its real center in the staircase in the common room, and then we've seen it also in the haunted shop trailer, and there we, instead of seeing all of the statue, we actually just saw an angle looking up at the face of the statue with a hand being empty, whilst in the Slytherin common room this statue had a skull on its hand, and now we see it with a star and with a staff at on the other hand, without actually the snake that we saw in the Slytherin common room. So now we can probably exclude actually Salazar Slytherin because he doesn't have any connection with stars, and so it would be a bit weird to actually see him being depicted with a star and without the snake in this case, and then with a skull and a snake in another case. It wouldn't really make sense. During the panel, Boston mentioned that this is a nod to the Marauders map, with actually this being the Hesperius hallway. I had a look online because I thought maybe this could be a lead on actually understanding what this statue is, as maybe this was going to be depicted by the statue, but actually this looks like is a myth about a mother of nymphs that were made so that they were going to look after the golden apples in a garden, and not really depicting a witch or wizard. So it doesn't look like that statue is going to be Hesperius, which then means that this statue is possibly going to be of Merlin, as it has some connection with the Slytherins, of course, as he was a Slytherin himself, and some connection with the stars, as that was what it was interested in. Therefore, I think now this statue is going to be of Merlin, although I had speculated before that this was going to be Salazar Slytherin, especially because of the positioning in the Slytherin common room, and then it would have made sense in the actual haunted shop, because that could have been another curse that Salazar Slytherin had put on the shop. Now, as they go past this hallway, we actually see a lock on a door, and this door actually to me looks like a bathroom door, and this is because it has the male face on that door that is locked, and then going a little bit further we actually see a female face on the next door. So this to me looks like a boy and girl's bathroom, and it's actually interesting that the boy's bathroom is locked although the girl's bathroom isn't, because that would signify that technically as you arrive to Hogwarts, the first year people cannot use that bathroom, or at least the first year male students cannot use that bathroom while the females can. I wonder why that is actually locked. I wonder if we're gonna have a quest to go in that specific bathroom as well, but it's very funny to me that one of them is locked and the other one isn't. Now, one thing that I wanted to quickly mention is that we actually see a lot of the lights around the castle flicker, and that is to me a very nice nod to the fact that the castle is actually not powered through electricity, therefore all the lights we see is actually fire, and so the light will of course flicker. We see this during the combat, we see this in the beginning at the dormitory, and I think this is a very nice nod to the fact that all of the lights we see is actually made by fire. Now, the last bonus item on the list is actually one of the answers that the game developers gave during one of the questions from Expecto Go. We actually see them saying that they now really look at the books and films differently because they can actually see what is going to be around the corner and what actually things we have impacted in the world of Harry Potter. So what things that Harry Potter describes that we have actually had a hand in creating. And this to me actually something that they could do is all of the passageways to Hogsmeade. So we know that there is a lot of passageways to go to Hogsmeade, but a lot of them are caved in or broken or not available anymore. And I wonder if actually we will have a hand in deleting or destroying, I should say, some of these environments. I wonder if, for example, at the end, when we're trying to either save Hogwarts or not save Hogwarts, then we're gonna be able to actually cave in one of the passageways to either avoid people from getting in Hogwarts or avoid people from leaving Hogwarts. I think this would be a very nice way to actually impact the story, but I'm very curious to see what other things we're gonna do that then will make sense later on when we reread the books or rewatch the films. But yeah, so these were my 20 missable details in the new reveal trailer. I actually also want to shout out Expecto Go. I've really enjoyed seeing him there and being part of this new announcement. It was a proud moment, I think, for the whole community to actually see one of us going there and being able to ask questions and being handed that controller. I would have freaked out. I would have completely freaked out if they'd given me the controllers and just being able to actually technically play the game, even though it was just character customization. I would have been completely screaming, I think, but he handled it very, very well. So a big shout out to him and a big well done to him. It was really, really great seeing him. I was also on the live stream when he was talking about his experience there, and it was just very magical, which is very fitting for all of this. So again, really, really, really excited for this game still. There is still so many questions. I feel like we get so many things and then we get so many questions in our heads because of all of the things that they show us, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the game and start playing in February. Let me know in the comments below if there is anything I missed. I didn't want to cover everything because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of breakdown coming out. So I just wanted to say a little bit of the different details that we may miss in these breakdowns. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, and if you want to keep up with all of my videos, please subscribe. That would mean the world. Anyways, thank you so much for reaching the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.